Hey guys, how are you? I hope you guys had a good week. I'm sorry my video is a little late this week. I've had a migraine for a couple days, and actually then my cat got sick and we had to go to the vet in the snow. It's kind of a weird week for me. So anyway, thank you for your patience. And this week's assignment, we are doing a dragon out at night with the moon and a lit up Christmas tree. I played around with a couple different dragon ideas, and I'm pretty happy with the one that I ended up with, so I hope you guys like it as well. To start, you guys need your pencil and eraser, a sharpie, and I colored my dragon in with colored pencils. If you guys have colored pencils, I would recommend that. If not, you can use whatever you want to use. I did color pencil mostly because it has a sharp point on it, so it's easier to get into those small areas. If you don't have colored pencils, I don't know, if you have markers, maybe that would work, or crayons, you could use crayons if those are sharpened. But really you could use whatever. In fact, you could even use watercolor if you wanted. That might be kind of fun. But anyway, play around with it. I used colored pencils, and then I used chalk pastels for the background. Okay, so go get your supplies. Oh, and also get a paper towel if you are going to do the chalk pastel for the background, because I want you to use a paper towel to help blend and smudge in the background, okay? So go get your supplies and we'll get started, okay? Thanks. Okay, guys, on our drawing, we're gonna do our dragon looking up at a Christmas tree. And the very first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna look, so this is our final dragon. And what we wanna do to get there is that we wanna look at the shape that this is made of. So we're gonna do kind of a oval shape for his head, and a little bit of a neck. Then we're gonna do a larger oval for this part of the body right here. And then another oval for, let's see, its legs down here. And then we'll do a big swoopy tail, okay? So this is our finished product. This is what we're gonna do to start to frame it out. And then we'll erase and get more precise to get to this drawing. I'm gonna start with my head. Over here, I'm on the left side of my paper. My paper is horizontal. I'm gonna start, I think about right here. And remember, this is a baby dragon, so we're gonna try to make him kind of cute in little tiny proportions. Now his neck is gonna kind of come down like this and like that. Okay, and then up here, this is gonna be his chest. So we're gonna start with our oval. This is gonna be his chest. And it's gonna come out kind of like this. It's a little bit of an egg shape, kind of. And this is real rough, guys. You know, we're gonna go back in and clean this up. So it's kind of a little bit of an egg shape, actually. And then over here, we're going to make another little oval. It's not gonna go out quite as far as the chest. It's gonna come around like that for the leg. And then this line here where the two ovals meet is gonna be kind of like his spine. Well, this back side right here is gonna be his spine. So that spine is gonna come around and finish out his tail. So we're gonna come around with his tail, and you can make it any shape that you want. I want mine to be a little bit curly and playful. But again, we can go in and adjust this too as we go along. Okay, so that's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to erase this line here. And let me see, I'm going to erase this line. And I'm also going to erase this line right here, because this is kind of like his leg coming out. Now we are going to erase a little bit more of that leg when we get the tail in, but we're not quite there yet. So this is the very center of our tail. So now we need to get the sides in. So over here, I'm going to say about where his leg stops, but lower. We're going to start the other part of his tail, I guess the side. And we're just going to do the same thing, but we're going to come in closer and closer until we finally get to a point. Okay. And we're also going to do the same thing on this side, because again, this is the center. But I'm going to come around like that, and swoop down, and then swoop back up over like that. And now we can erase this part of his leg. We don't need that anymore. Okay, so here's our little sample head. Here's our oval. It's this whole big round thing. Now, right smack in the middle over here is where his eye, I'll say eye ridge. I don't know what it's called, but it's right above his eye. His eye is kind of in the center of our oval. So his eye is going to be about right here. You can make any shape eye that you want. I was trying to make this kind of cute, so I ended up with kind of a teardrop shape eye. Oh, my kittens want to go outside. I'll color that in. Okay. But now over here, so this is his little snout, and then he has a little ridge that comes up over his eye and comes back down. Now his mouth, it's just going to be a little smile. It's going to come out. It's going to curve down a little bit and then curve back up towards his eye. And then he's going to have a little oval nostril right there. Okay. And then this lower jaw, I want it to just be a smidge smaller than his upper jaw. So I'm going to have it come in just kind of like that, and then go back down. And I'm actually going to give him a little bit of a jaw right there. Okay, so there's his basic head shape. His neck comes down like that. Okay, let's finish out his chest. Comes down. I feel like that might be going out a little bit too far. Maybe more like that. And then his arm is going to come right back down towards his knee, like that. And the other side of his arm is going to come down like this. And then we'll have like a little claw or something over here. Let's erase these lines that we don't need. And we might clean up that arm a little bit later, but let's leave that for now. Okay, now his chest is going to be wider up at the top and go skinnier in towards his belly. So now we're going to kind of just take this and angle it in a little bit. Okay, and I think that's pretty good. Bring his knee around like that. Okay, let's go ahead and do his wings. So his wing is going to start about here, like below his neck, about where his shoulders are. And these are teeny tiny little baby wings. So this is going to swoop down and up and down and up again. Okay. And then we're going to take our point here. And we're going to do these little swooshy things. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Swoosh, swoosh. And then we're going to come around like that and attach it back up there. Okay, so we have most of his wing. Now we're going to pick a point, I don't know, about right there. And we're going to draw a line from that point to all of these points right here. Make it kind of curved. Okay. Now we're going to get his little horn in. just play around with whatever shape you want. Mine kind of droops down and then comes back up. And it's obviously it's going to be wider by his head and get skinnier towards the end. Something like that. And then I can erase this line in here. Okay, so there's our little horn. And I have it angling kind of towards his eye here. I have kind of like a rounded line right here towards his eye. I don't even know what these things are called right now. Little spikes on his back. And they're basically triangles, but I'm going to have them curve sort of in a downwards direction, sort of down his back. Like that. And now when we get to his tail, remember this line here is his spine. So that's the line that we're going to use. Go down like this. And at some point about right here, our spikes are going to go above that line. And they're going to get smaller as we get towards the end of our tail. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that's going to be my finished dragon. If you need to work on yours a little bit, you can pause it here and try to finish it out so it looks more like this, okay? And then we'll get started on the rest. Okay guys, so now when you have your dragon done, a lot of our drawing is going to be done with our chalk pastels, but I just kind of want to rough in very lightly about where our shapes are going to be, okay? You know what, if you want to, you could even just do a triangle for the tree. You know what, I'm doing it real lightly, but I'm realizing you can't see. So you guys, when you're drawing, do it lighter than this. But I kind of have a curved line down here for the base of my Christmas tree. And then I'm just going to kind of make a triangle for the rough shape of it. I want it to be symmetrical. And have my curved line down here symmetrical as well. Okay. So after you rough in the basic shape of the tree, we need a tree line in the background. So about halfway through his back is going to be a line for where the bottom of our background trees go. The line is kind of like the bottom of the tree line, okay? And then up here, I'm just going to do a wavy line to just kind of show roughly where the top of these other trees are going to be. And then very, very lightly, I'm going to rough in the moon. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get my Sharpie and Sharpie my dragon in because I really, really like him and I don't want him to get lost with my chalk pastels, which is a thing that can happen. So I'm going to go ahead and get my Sharpie and Sharpie him in. I want you guys to do the same. Actually, I'm just noticing one other thing that you can do on him if you want is put little kind of diagonal lines on his horn here. So anyway, I'm going to go Sharpie him in, and you guys do the same. And once you're to about this space and Sharpied in, then come on back, okay? Okay, guys, so I have finished Sharpieing my image in, and I'm going to go and color him in with colored pencil now. If you guys have colored pencil, I think that's a good thing to use. If you don't, feel free to use whatever supplies you have that you would like to use. I think the main reason why I'm using the colored pencils is for the sharper tip. Initially, I was going to do this in chalk pastel, which is something that you could still do, or you could really use crayon if you wanted to, or markers, I guess. But I'm going to go ahead and use my colored pencil. So I'm going to color this guy in blue. I'm going to color him in real lightly. I decided I want to make him blue, purple, and gold. So I'm going to start out by coloring him blue. You guys can choose whatever colors you want. My main reason for going with the colors that I chose was that I wanted him to stand out against the green that I have chosen for the background and for our Christmas tree. And so I thought that this would complement that and kind of stand out a little bit. I had originally wanted him to be green and purple, but I thought that would just be too much green. So I'm going to start out by coloring the whole thing in blue. And I'm not going to make you watch me color this whole thing. I'll go ahead and pause it. Or you guys can go ahead and pause it while I finish this up. But I'm going to color it in blue. And then I'm also going to be aware of shading. So anywhere where it's, you know, this is, our moon is our light source. Actually, we kind of have two light sources, our moon and also our Christmas tree. So anything that would be shaded from that, like maybe this part of his body here, maybe the back side of his neck, I'm going to use a little bit more pressure. And then I'm going to slowly ease up on that pressure so that it blends in nicely with the rest of that color. Okay, right here too. So I'm going to use a good amount of pressure right there and then just slowly ease up on it until I'm back out here. And now out here, I'm actually pretty much as light as I can, mostly because it hurts my hand to draw too hard. So I'm just going nice and comfortable. Okay, so you guys go ahead and pause this now and color your dragon in with whatever colors you see fit, trying to also do shadow and highlights. You know, wherever the moon might be hitting him, like maybe on the top of his horns or the top of his head, maybe you want to have a little bit of a yellow glow, or, you know, maybe by his chin, which is going to be facing the tree, maybe you want a little bit of a yellow glow. But be conscious of highlights and shadows, and go ahead and color your dragon in and come back to me when you're done, okay? Okay, guys, so here is my little dragon. And like I said, I colored him in with the colored pencils, and I made it darker, you know, where I thought there would be shadow areas. And something that I did to do these highlight areas, you know, I drew as lightly as I could, but it still wasn't quite as light as I wanted. So I actually used my eraser and went over these areas and took some of this pigment off in the areas that I really wanted to be the lightest, like where the tree was going to be shining on him. So that's something that you can do. I did that like along this whole line here and along his leg. Did a tiny bit, I think, on the top of his tail and in this little bit of his wings here. But I just wanted to let you know that that's a technique that you can use. You could also try going over it with white and kind of blending that in, but I have found the eraser to work really well. So I went ahead and did that, and now I'm going to go in and start using my chalk pastels to do the rest of this image. We had sort of roughed out with our pencil where everything was going to go, so I'm going to start just laying out my basic shapes. I'm going to get my moon in here. Okay, and now for my tree, I'm going to start with my green. Our colors are very vibrant though, and I want to make a night scene, so we're going to do lots of layers of different color to try to desaturate this some. I'm going to use my chalk pastel on its side, sort of. Just kind of rub it back and forth. I'm having a hard time showing you guys right now, but rub it back and forth like I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and then I'll show you what it looks like, okay? Okay, there we go. So I just took my pastel and just kind of went like this, you know, in a kind of like a little bit of a half circle, or just kind of like a curved line, and got smaller and smaller as I went up. And that's my basic shape for that. Now for my trees, I think I'm actually going to start with kind of a, I don't know, you know what, let's start with a purple. Something just a little bit more grayish. And basically for this, I'm going to do this. And just kind of go up and down to indicate a tree line. So let me do that for you and I'll come right back. Okay guys, so this is my roughed in version. You know, if you're short on time, I actually think this is kind of cute as is. I'm going to go ahead and finish it, but if you are short on time, you know, this is a decent place to stop. Our dragon is very well done. He's nice and sketched in and drawn in. There's no white spots showing, and we have a roughed in background. If you wanted to stop here, I would be okay with that. But I'm going to go in and pick out a foreground color. I'm probably going to use, let me see, these are all of our colors here. I'm probably going to use something in this color. We don't have a whole lot of grays, like a whole lot of neutrals. Actually, we do have this here, this silver here. I'm probably going to use a lot of that, a lot of these here browns, along with my 2 colors of green and different shades of yellow and creamy orange and purple. The sample that I have up here, we're not doing this dragon, we're not doing this exact drawing, but I just want you to see the tree. You know, I've got lots of green, yellow, dark blue, like navy blue in there, and I'm still using that sort of curved line motion for this part in here. I kind of zigzag across to make it kind of look like lights, and maybe I'll use my white and do that as well. But these other colors in here, this is just layer upon layer. It's like green and purple and orange and brown. And then in between layers, I'm using my my paper towel. I don't have it right here, but I'm using a paper towel to rub this in. So let me just do a little bit and then I'll give you another look at how it's turning out. Okay guys, I wanted to show you this rubbed in. I just took my paper towel and, you know, just rubbed it in to get it into the paper and to get off any loose chalk pastel. And now I'm going to go over it with different layers, doing that same kind of technique. You know, on the trees, I'm just going to be going kind of up and down. And then over here, I'm going to be doing this sort of half circle type of motion. And then with each layer, because this is very powdery, I'm going to go in and rub it, you know, in the direction that it's supposed to be. You know, for my trees, I did up and down, and for this, I did this kind of circular motion. Okay, so let me do a little bit more and I'll let you see. Hey guys, so this is where I am now. I've put navy blue and gray on this part and rubbed it in. This part back here, I have blue, purple, gray, and a green. I used one that was a little bit more of a bluish green in the background, and I'm leaving a little bit of space, of white space around my tree so that it can kind of glow as I put more and more layers on. I'm going to try to leave this area a little bit open. Okay, I'm going to go now, I think, and put some layers in the sky. And like I said, just keep on adding on layers. I think my last couple of layers, I'm probably not going to rub them in, but right now I'm trying to get my colors to blend, to tone them down. So that's why I'm rubbing them in the way that I am. And when I get closer to being finished, then I'll just let them be. Okay, let me do a little bit more and I'll let you see again. Okay guys, so I have been working and this is what I have ended up with. I took a picture of all of the different colors that I use, so I'll share that now. Okay, and that's all that I used for my colors for this. Not that you have to do yours the same as mine, but everything that I did is what I showed you. I would use it on its side. For the ground, I would basically go in this direction. For the trees, I would hold my pastel in this direction for the background trees. And I'd be careful not to get my little dragon in there. For the Christmas tree, I would either just do these little swoopy motions, or like for the diagonals, I would use the corner for the diagonals and do like this, like for the lights or the tinsel or whatever that is. I would use the corner for that. That's the only place that I use the corner though. All the rest of it, I use this, you know, this flat edge right here. for the sky, I think I just did a real light circular motion and did not go by the moon. I left the moon open and I did this whole area, and then I would rub it in with my, here's my paper towel. I'd find a clean spot, and for the sky, I would just do circular motions and rub it in, and then I'd do another layer and I'd do the same thing. For the ground, I would just go like this to rub it in. And for the tree, you know, I would basically sort of replicate the motion that I used when I was putting the pastel on. So for the tree, if I even blended the tree, I would do the sweeping motion. But honestly, I didn't blend the tree too much because I wanted to leave a lot of this white space open, this light, airy look. And I was afraid that if I over blended it, I would lose my white spaces. So a lot of that I just sort of left alone. And I would blend and blend and blend until I finally got an overall look that I liked. And then I would pick out which color I wanted my last colors to be. Down here, I used this here actually is, it looks like it's black. It's really like a dark navy. And that's what this color right in here is. Okay, so I used this dark navy blue that looks black on a lot of this. In fact, the sky is mostly this color. This part back here is this color. I got some of it in the trees, but also in these background trees. I used this green. It's a little bit of a mint green. It's the darker of the two mint greens. And I just kind of went like that. I did kind of rough in some little trees here. And I think that's it. Yep, I think that is basically it. The very last step that I did for the tree and for the moon was that I did, for the moon, I went over the area real lightly like this with the orange, and I didn't blend it in heavy. Like, you can use a lot of pressure with the paper towel, or you can just kind of like dab. And I think I just kind of dabbed just to maybe get off some excess powder, or to just kind of smooth it in a little bit. And same with this here. My last thing that I did was this little bit of yellow, and I just pulled some yellow strokes out. And then I didn't really rub it in, but I just sort of dabbed it just to sort of soften the edges some. Okay, so anyway, that is it. That's our drawing for the week. Okay, guys. Well, I hope that you had fun with this assignment. I thought it was just something a little bit different for Christmas and a little fun. Please send me your pictures. I'd love to see them and see how they turned out. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you next week, okay? Take care. Bye.